Hello my friends, this is Wake Angel 2001 coming at you with a review of the Legacy United Infernac Universe Shard. Yes, Shard is one of those series of figures which is an homage to the Rock Lords of all things, which I find hugely amusing, and she's a helicopter. She's basically a helicopter made out of green mineral crystal, which is very amusing to me, like making a flying machine literally out of rock. Yeah, like the side features like if her helicopter blades actually turn into weapons like that, that would be freaking awesome. And the close up of just her face is really cool. She's not as beautiful as Chromia, but hey, like I said, just because a character's female doesn't mean that she needs to be beautiful. She just needs to look really cool looking, and that is what she does. So they show in the back the robot mode, the helicopter mode, what she can do with her weapon thing, and the gimmick that this figure participates in, the Weaponizer, which shows off a preview of Gears, one of the mini-bots. Come on, man, when am I going to get my Power Glide? He's my favorite mini-bot, the only one that I really want. But yeah, she's a weaponizer, meaning that she can dismantle and her parts can be used to make weapons or armor for other characters. So that being said, let's get her out of the box and talking about, the figure. Okay, so having her out of the box, we are presented with an interesting looking robot mode. There's a lot of angular surfaces. These things on her shins were separate pieces. They're pegged in. Underneath, she has a much smoother shin. Like, that looks like traditional robot. I feel like this could help in remolds in the future, where you could significantly alter the figure just by having these parts being different. Let's see what they decide to do with that later on. Yeah, but that's more to serve for the weaponizer gimmick, because yeah, this figure can dismantle, although I'm seeing that the joints do seem to have nice friction. We'll get to that in just a minute. First, let's talk about her helicopter blades. There are a few ways that she can wield these. You can do the thing like on the box cover, where she basically gives herself Yeah, like that. You gotta rotate them, or else they'll impact that thing on her forearm. Where she has these huge, gigantic claws in her hands. That's kind of a badass look that she has going on. Yeah. A little bit stiff on the elbow there. Or, if you prefer, these things on her forearms that look like cannons, they are also compatible with the unique shape that's at the base of the blades. So you can kind of plug them in like this, and then she has like a forearm mounted sword kind of thing going on. So, however you like your character to wield swords that look like they're just gigantic sharp crystals, that's a perfectly valid way for her to do so. Of course, there is a way to display them idly. The helicopter blades are, of course, helicopter blades, and you can put them onto the helicopter's rotary base on her back. The instructions specify hanging them off like this, where they vaguely look like a cape if you do so. And her tail keeps them from spinning around too much, so you don't have that distracted. At first, I was kind of thinking that the fact that this figure has a tail is kind of annoying, because, like, look at how deep that is. That would be a really hard time getting her into a display that's not deep enough. But, upon thinking about the whole Rock Lord thing, it kind of gives her a bit more of a creature vibe. Like, she's not just some regular Cybertronian. She's this being made out of sentient rock crystal that, it gives me the vibe of some kind of lizard person. Like, even among Cybertronians, she's still somewhat alien, Getting a close-up of that face. That is a face. It is light-piped as far as I can see. And the light piping works pretty good. Even just the ambient light of the living room I'm in right now, like, the entire back of her head is translucent, so no wonder the light piping in the eyes work. But also the translucent torso, that works good. And up here, there's a little bit more translucent, but that's just part of her kibble. And yeah, not bad at all. Articulation, she has peg, 5mm peg for shoulder, but she does have a traditional in and out. She has a bicep swivel, an elbow that goes 90 degrees, wrist swivel. No waist joint. Oh, no. Yep, waist joint. Yes, waist joint. Yes, there is a waist joint. Hips, they go forward. They go out. They have a hard time going forward and out because of the shape of these crystals on her crotch plate. But if you get creative, you can work around it. There is a knee swivel, a 90-degree bend at the knee, and ankle rocker. Yeah, so all your articulation you will come to expect from a modern transformer is present here. Her head only swivels. It does not have a ball joint. But yeah, very well articulated robot crystal lizard thing. Yeah, robot crystal lizard thing. That's what I'm going with. Yeah, like, I kind of dig this. It appeals to me on several levels. I mean, it still has that vehicle transformation you come to expect from Transformers, but you know, the Earth and space science major in me that took a lot of geology courses just loves the way she looks. Like, I get Shard is a decent name because of the jagged edges of these crystals, but you know, that's my favorite rogue Mechasonic. I would have preferred if she had a name that evoked a green crystal, like maybe jade or malachite, you know, like some mineral that's known for being green. That probably would have been a better name for her. Now, like, but I guess they figured that something like that would be too on the nose for a character that's made out of rock. So yeah, let's leave it at that. All right, so she is impressing me here in her robot mode. So why don't we go ahead and get her? Well, let's see. Interesting. Okay. Looking at the instructions, I feel like the next best thing that we can do for her is get her into her helicopter mode so that we can take a look at that. If you've ever seen a helicopter made out of rock, well, here it is. Got a good spin on the rotors on top. That's pretty cool. The transformation is pretty standard. Well, it's interesting. She does a lot of cool stuff to get into her vehicle mode, and I'm impressed by how much of the robot disappears. Like, if it wasn't for this crotch back here, you'd just be convinced that this is an avant-garde helicopter design. The way that the crystals all line up with the helicopter's forward motion makes it look like the crystals just formed on this thing as it was moving, which is a really cool look. And the only real flaw that I didn't like is up here, these, if you want to call them little jet thrusters or weapon emplacements. The point is, in order to transform her, you have to take them off her forearms and then put them back on in the other direction once she's in her helicopter mode. So it is weapons part forming, which has always been a pet peeve of mine. You can transform her with all of her helicopter blade swords on her back, so you don't need to part form that, but you do need to part form these, and I find that annoying. Although, speaking of part forming, as a member of the Weaponizer Club, that is kind of her whole thing. So there are just holding up to get a nice glamour shot of the crystal helicopter. I also like how on the tail fin there's actually a little bit of asymmetry there. Like, because, you know, it's growing mineral crystal. It's not like it's precisely machined. Seriously, you guys, I actually really do love this. It's a great way to homage the classic Rock Lords line while still being a good transformer. It's not sacrificing anything for the gimmick or the homage. It is still a very good, competent transformer, and I love that. That being said, let's take it apart for that weaponizer gimmick. Just want to get an above the shot view to show the dismantling, and quite frankly, quite a lot of the helicopter is still there. Like, all of this apparently doesn't participate in the weaponizer gimmick, just her legs below the knees, her arms, her helicopter blades, the shin guards, and those little gun things. Like, I've seen weaponizers where pretty much everything except the hips becomes stuff to make weapons and armor into. So I kind of feel like she's only half dedicated to this. But you know, whatever. It's kind of the weaponizer gimmick is kind of shoehorned in. But you know, let's see what it can actually do. So how much play value you're going to get out of this gimmick depends on how many 5mm ports your action figures have. So it can be something as basic as just giving the character one of her swords. I like how there's like a notch there that actually fits neatly between the fingers of the figure. That's kind of a nice touch. You can use her arms to give your characters like a Mecha Shiva mode thing going on. Look at that. That's kind of General Grievous going on right there. You can give a combination of weapons and armor. Would you prefer a forearm-mounted cannon with shoulder-mounted shield, or a shoulder-mounted cannon and a forearm-mounted shield? Either way, it's perfectly valid, and it increases both your offense and defense on the battlefield. Or maybe you can just start daisy-chaining 5mm ports together and make whatever the heck this is. I don't know, like, this is just, I'm gonna smack you with a giant piece of crystal that I scraped off the wall. I don't know, whatever, screw you. I have a big bludgeoning thing. You know, when I converted what was left of the helicopter into robot mode, I kind of realized that, yeah, there really isn't much left of her. Just basically her thighs and her torso. I mean, like, maybe they could have found a way for the tail to unpeg, because that's a kind of a big thing to not be used for anything else. I could see that being used as some kind of weapon too. But yeah, I guess she does do a pretty good job of giving up most of herself to be weapon kibble for someone else. Can you imagine, like, someone else is using all of her parts as weapons on the battlefield, and she's just lying there like, how's it going? Is everything alright? I will get those back, right? Don't mind me, I'll just kinda... You know what, I'll just stay here and wait for my parts to come back. Alright, don't take too long. See you soon, hopefully. But in all seriousness, even without the gimmickry of the weaponizer thing, this is still a really great toy on its own. Shard is a great homage to the Rock Lord gimmick. The Rock Lord homage is strong in her, just as it is with the other Transformers that have this aesthetic going on. I think there's like the guy that turns into a rock truck, and the small one that turns into a rock motorcycle. I forget their names. They're gonna repaint the truck one into a white one, which I've been jokingly calling the Borax Kid, because he looks like the Borax Kid from Futurama. And then his vehicle mode, hilariously enough, looks like the Homer from that one Simpsons episode where his brother Herbert Powell made a car for him. So like I kind of been nicknaming the white version the Matt Groening Transformer, like the unofficial collaboration. But yeah, like in all seriousness, gimmickry aside, the figure itself still looks great. It has a really nice helicopter mode. The robot mode is cool looking, even if you don't take that whole weaponizer thing into account. And yeah, just overall pretty darn great. Bring on more of the Rock Lords. This is Wake Angel 2001 signing off.